When black men listen to black women on the topic of interracial dating, blank.
They often get defensive and feel guilty. To be totally honest with you, I think when a black woman presents and says, you know, when black men date white women, I don't get it. I don't understand. You're not valuing yourself and who you come from. And if you've dated a white woman, you sit down there and say, dang, is that true?
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another episode. Hey man, we got interracial dating. Black men react to black women's issues. Hey man, look, before we get into it, do me a huge favor. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it.
What's up, everyone? Shamika Sanders, host of Listen to Black Women here. We brought in a group of black men to discuss and respond to the advice, commentary, and wisdom offered from one of our episodes of Listen to Black Women.
I don't like to use the word hurt because I feel that puts too much weight on it. Personally, I am not that sad or affected when I see a black man with a woman of another race, unless he's very fine and she is not what I really think is, you know, a good match. But I do question a lot of their choices because when pressed or asked about it, a lot of them have really lame excuses. Like Michael did the whole thing about milk flavors, and I was just like,
So weird.
right, like just say you like what you like and this is not it or this is it.
My problem with it is that I feel like Michael B. Jordan's fan base have...
My only thing is, man, you can't get mad at that. If that's his preference, that's his preference. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what he said, if that's his excuse or whatever as to why he likes what he likes or you question what he likes, let it be. You know what I'm saying? We can't question what you like, then we're deemed as misogynistic. If we have a preference, misogynistic, or it's not making sense or it's not the norm. But if y'all have a preference, we just have to accept it.
It's been built on the backs of black women, and now he's afraid that he's going to lose his audience, so now he's clamoring and he's all these milk analogies, and it's really strange. But we see this so often in Hollywood.
Yeah, and we're seeing right through it because all of those types of explanations, they just read as superficial and inauthentic.
So superficial.
It's like, just own it, brother.
Africa Miranda's point about, she's not going to live her life kind of identifying, a black man is dating a white woman. Oh my God, travesty, right? Agreed. But I think that a lot of the black women that I know, a lot of my black female friends who are single, are faced with an issue of what's out there, what's in their purview as being true prime opportunities with black men. And so in the instance that you see a black man that you could have dating a white woman, it's kind of like, oh, that brother would have been good for me. And he went with a white girl? Oh. And so it really does feel like sabotage. It kind of feels like you just straight up just took an opportunity away from me. And I think that is an issue that we need to address.
I think the point about...
In dummy version, women just get jealous that you're out here dating outside your race. A lot of black women. But I wouldn't say a lot of black women get jealous. I would just say it's just more of like, y'all see what we're going through. Y'all see that we oppressed. Why you dating a white woman? You know what I'm saying? Stick within your race. Why don't you want more? And the common question that I've always gotten, even with my mother, y'all used to tell my mama used to ask why I used to like white women. I just said, I just like them. You know what I'm saying? Her thing was, why don't you want the kid to come out to look like you? That was the biggest question. Why don't you want your kid to come out looking like you? Look like you. And I was like, the damn kid is shit. If I didn't get a kid by a white woman, it's gonna come out like me. It's gonna be a little lighter, but it's still gonna come out looking like me. But that question always stuck with me. I saw myself with a white girl, but with a dark skinned baby, like my skin complexion. I'm like, the hell, that would never happen. But he does make sense. A lot of women do. A lot of black women. I ain't gonna say a lot, but some. You have a small bunch that is jealous, that just hate, that pretty much just hate. That just hate that you just dating outside your race. But it is understandable. It is understandable. Why not just stay in your race, man, and build that legacy. So it's understandable. It's understandable. I can't be mad at it.
Michael B. Jordan was really interesting too, about him building his, reputation and his fame on the backs of black women. And I think it is a very precarious predicament for him to be in, only because it's now he feels obliged to have to make an excuse. He can't just say, I enjoy dating white women. I think the interesting thing about preference is that it doesn't really affect anyone except for the individual. I understand historically that a lot of, what is seen as the black plight is the loss of the black family. But when does that become every individual's responsibility to say, okay, I have to put what I may innately prefer aside to fulfill this larger purpose? And so I think it's something to be said about, just the pressures of what is expected of the black man and what he's supposed to do and how he's treated if he was to come out and say, yeah, I prefer to date white women. There's a lot of backlash for that.
And so I want us to finish a thought, if we may. So. Yeah. When black men listen to black women on the topic of interracial dating,
I feel that their specific perspective and the life events that they have lived through grant them the right to their opinion. I think it's very different from what I've lived through and what I've seen and my whole perception of the situation, but it's equally valued, and I think there's some merit to it.
When black men listen to black women on the topic of interracial dating, blank.
They often get defensive and feel guilty. To be totally honest with you, I think when a black woman presents and says, when black men date white women, I don't get it. I don't understand. You're not valuing yourself and who you come from. And if you've dated a white woman, you sit down there and say, dang, is that true? No. You start to think and calculate and and see if that's the case. And then you come up with a response. It's unfortunate that is the case. But the fact of the matter is that when we hear our sisters give their opinions on it, sometimes we can become enlightened, but oftentimes we become defensive.
What can we do, both men and women, to start to address this, right? What can women do to feel less bothered by these trends? And what can men do, black men, to try to listen to black women a little bit more and hold space for them?
I think the key to any problem, the first step is dialogue. There needs to be that conversation. There can't be these feelings of disdain and anger and hurt, and you just keep it bottled inside. I don't think that's the solution in any situation. I think it's best that we have these conversations with each other. We put our prides aside. We try to remove the emotionality from it, and we hear what people are thinking. And furthermore, I think if you speak to a black man as a black woman and you say, why do you date white women? And he says, this is all I want to date, then you probably saved yourself and dodged a bullet. You wouldn't want someone who could be so ignorant to think that you could just make a determination on who you love on race. So,
what I tell you, bro, come on, dude. This is the common theme with black women sit over here. You have to say shit like that. Hey, well, you know what? Hey, I date white women because, that's just my preference. I like them. If you sit on here and say, well, I date white women, you get to explaining, black women are going to try to pick it out and sit on here and say, that makes no sense. Oh, that's coonish. Oh, that's the only reason? That? So you dating them for the wrong reason? And granted, listen, like I said, I understand my black brothers be dating some of the most ugliest white women. I understand that. I understand a little myth or whatever. I do see it more common than I do seeing, see it the other way around. But what are they getting in return for the girl to be ugly, for girl being ugly? A submissive woman, a traditional woman, almost. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, just anecdotal experience, I see more white men, I see more black men with white women with kids and long-term relationships than I see it with black women and black men. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a recommon thing. You just have to, it's a reoccurring thing where you just say, hey, look, I like her just because. We've gotten to that day and age where you can't even, and the society's not making it even better. You know what I'm saying? The society's not making it any better. Y'all can guess what the hell I'm talking about. Nobody's getting justice around here, especially for skin color.
Yourself.
Yeah, agree. I think that black women, when you do get that kind of response from a black man, I only date white women or women that are not black, I think you definitely have saved yourself. I think you exit the conversation, especially if you're not interested in that man. Right. But even if you are, you kind of just move on and don't take on the idea that that man's word is the word for all black men. That's it. And particularly if a black man is dating a white woman, please don't misappropriate that for only wanting white women, right? I think there are tons of black men that want to date black women, and that's just a fact. The last piece I would say is date men outside of your race too. I mean, I'm not saying to do it as a tit for tat, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm not saying only date outside your race, but I think you have an opportunity to go out there and explore and see what you like and see that there's not really that much of a difference oftentimes when you're in the dating world. Maybe culturally there might be a little bit, but you might learn something by dating somebody else.
Totally, cast a wide net. But my advice goes to men. I'd say men need to take more ownership for their reasons, right? And like you said, if that's your preference, that's fine. But I wouldn't deflect it by saying that the black woman is less than, right? And then we have the laundry list of things that we can point to. So I would say for men, we need to take more ownership of our preference if that's the case. We hope you enjoyed, and make sure to stay tuned for the next episode of Listen to Black.
That's going to end it right there. But, just touching on that last part, he was saying, like I said, the common theme is when asked, why do we date outside of our race? We get, yeah, man, well, say that you date outside of race and say why you date outside of race, but don't be putting down black women. There's nobody's putting down black women. I really want to get that stereotype, that narrative that women keep trying to push out of people's head. If you ask me, yo, Kima, why do you date outside your race? Why do you date white women as opposed to black women? White women are a little more traditional than black women. Why? Because you're asking me, because that's the common question. Why do you date white women as opposed to dating black women? White women are a little more traditional. They're more in their feminine state, running. They're more active, this, that, this, and that. Black women then start to get to saying, okay, no, they're not, blah, blah, start getting all up in your face, da, da, and start deflecting and sit on here trying to say you're putting down black women, saying what white women are better at than black women. It's not putting you down. It's just simply saying, hey, look, this is why you ask me why I want white women, or why I date more white women than I do black women. Here is why. Please stop picking out shit to try to throw it back at me and sit on here and say, hey, look, trying to get me to question why I date outside of race, or why somebody may date outside the race. So it's just a common thing, man, where a lot of black women try to push a narrative that does not need to be pushed. Try to push a narrative that don't need to exist. What can change more men to date inside their race is by having more black women be more traditional than they are now. Y'all are not traditional. Modern women are not traditional, and that is a fact. Modern women are not traditional. Crybaby challenge. Silhouette challenge. What else you have? The cucumber challenge. If we had more traditional, if black women were as traditional as they used to be back in the day, I'm telling you, we will be moving more and more and more. We'll be moving forward. So, man, look, do me a huge favor. Give me a like, comment, subscribe. Out.